So let's talk about something real quick. And I'm not going to take up too much of your time with this, but I felt like it was probably kind of important to address. Um, Suicide, specifically law enforcement suicide. So far, year to date, I believe there's been 97 deaths in law enforcement as a result of suicide. That's a lot. And we continually outpace line of duty deaths year after year. I think New York's lost, what, 3 in the past few weeks? So we hear constantly, get help, talk to somebody, reach out to your command staff, reach out to somebody at your agency, reach out to a friend, reach out to family, seek help. Help's available. And it is. Help is available. But what are the consequences of taking that help? What are the consequences of seeking out help? What are the consequences of going to your doctor and saying, look, man, I'm having some problems, or going to somebody on your shift or your platoon and saying, look, I'm feeling some sort of kind of way. And I don't, I mean, look, I get it. Help's available. And it's important that we find a way to cope, because this is an ugly job, man. And I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but this is an ugly fucking job. The pay sucks. The hours suck. To quote somebody I saw post some shit the other day, your brain can't unsee what your eyes have seen, or something to that effect. I mean, everything that we deal with is bad shit. Everything that we deal with is bad shit. We never see people on their best day. We're knocking on doors and telling people that their family member's dead, or we're fucking, dealing with dead children, or just, the myriad of shit that we deal with on the daily. And it's no secret that it takes its toll. I mean, obviously it does. 97 people this year. 97 cops this year have killed themselves. And that's not to say that it's all work related. I mean, it may not be. A bunch of people kill themselves every year. But at the end of the day, man, the job takes its toll. It does. And if you stay in it for 5 years or 10 years or 20 or 30, it's I can't say the word I want to say. Cumulative. Thank you. You're welcome. It builds up, man. And the longer you stay with it, the more shit you see. Everybody has the fucking cop dreams. Everybody has a dream where, you can't pull your trigger, or the bullet falls out the end of the gun, or you're getting good impact and the bad guy's not falling down, or you're seeing that burnt up body, or you're seeing that dude that was beaten to death and left to die under a fucking oak tree in a trailer park, or you're seeing that motor vehicle collision where bodies just explode like fucking pumpkins dropped off a roof. You can't unsee that shit. But when you address that, when you go, all right, man, I need some help. I'm fucked up. I got to talk to somebody. Well, who do you talk to? I mean, you can't always talk to your spouse because, maybe they're going to get it, maybe they're not. Who do you talk to at work, man? Can you go to your command staff and say, hey, look, I know I carry a gun every day for work, but I'm feeling like, I might kill myself. Do you go to your doctor and say, hey, doc, look, I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling suicidal, or I'm feeling pressure, and then the doc puts you on some kind of antidepressant like Zoloft or Paxil or some shit like that. Well, okay, that's great. Maybe you're feeling better after that. Maybe you feel better after getting started on this medication and it gets all therapeutic. And then let's say you get involved in an OIS, right? And, maybe it's a good shoot and everything's fine, but the attorney for the family that's going to file the wrongful death lawsuit finds out somehow, because somebody ran their mouth, that you were taking some kind of antidepressant medication. Who's on the hook for that? You think the agency's going to come to your aid? Is the agency going to back you up and say, "Yeah, we knew he or she was taking whatever antidepressant. We knew he or she was feeling some sort of way, but yeah, you know, we let him on the road anyway with a badge and a gun." I mean, maybe it contributes to the death, maybe it doesn't. Maybe the antidepressants contribute to the suicides. I mean, I think it's not a secret that there's a whole bunch of cops in the world that are taking something for depression, right? I mean, how do you get help for this shit? And I'm asking, how do you get help without jeopardizing your career? If you go to your command element, if you go to your agency and say, "I'm feeling this kind of way," well, are you then a liability? Are you then a broken toy? Are you going to get benched? Because let's be real, man. Who's taking on the liability there? And I'm not speaking in defense of anybody or anything. I'm just asking the question. If something bad goes down, if you get out on a call and shit goes sideways, and you've been to your command staff, or you've been to your agency, or you've been to somebody on your platoon and said, "I feel like I'm going to suck start my gun," what happens? Who does that fall back on? And I'm not saying don't ask for help. I'm just asking what the reality of the situation is. What's the reality of asking for help? What is the reality of admitting to someone else other than yourself that you're in that state of mind? And how does that affect your employability? Are they gonna cut you some time off so you can go, chill out for a minute and maybe come back and you're gonna be all better? I mean, is that, and I think this is the big worry. I think this is why people don't ask for help or actively seek out help. It's why I didn't seek help. Because you're broken. And people say it's okay to not be okay, and it is. It's 100% okay to not be okay. And it's okay to go out and find help. But at what risk? Are you risking your job, your profession, the thing that you love to do? If you get in that frame of mind, should you even be on the job anymore? And again, I'm not asking rhetorical questions. I'm legitimately asking. So what do we do? And you know what? I've never told anybody this, but I'll tell you. Years ago, had a rough spot. And it was probably, I guess I was close to 10 years in, give or take. And man, I was having some problems in the brain housing group. There were some things that were getting to me. And I went to my doc. And the doc put me on some meds. And I didn't tell anybody, at work especially. I mean, of course, my wife knew, but I didn't tell anybody outside of the family. But then, the meds that they put me on, the initial prescription didn't do anything. It made me worse. I mean, I was riding around in my patrol car on shift at work trying to figure out where I could pull off the side of the road and blow my brains out, but somebody would find me soon enough where it didn't stink up the car. I'm not trying to be funny. That's just how it was. And that was scary. That scared me. So I went back to the doc, and I'm like, "Hey, man, here's what this stuff's doing to me." Doc's like, "All right, let's switch it up. Let's try something else." So we did. And I remember I got up one morning to go to work. It was probably, we had to be in roll call at like 06:45, right? So I'd get up around 4:30, 5 o'clock and get ready. And I can remember getting dressed, and I put on my duty belt keepers. And the last thing I did when I got ready, because you've got your routine and everything's got to go on in a certain way and it's got to be in a certain order, or it did for me. Because if it did, like if I put one belt keeper on in the wrong order, it would freak me out and I'd have to start all over again because luck and whatnot. Anyway, I dropped my pistol down to my holster, and at the time we had a level 3 Safariland with the thumb brake on top. So I snapped the thumb brake, and I had this weird, like, urge. It wasn't a thought. It was an urge, like when you got to piss. But the urge wasn't, hey, I got to piss. The urge was, shoot yourself. Now, there's nobody awake in the house. Kids are asleep, wife's still asleep. I'm trying to be quiet. And that scared the shit out of me because it was like the halves of my brain, one half of my brain was fighting with the other half of the brain. Does that make sense? So, and this happened within minutes of me taking my pill in the morning. So I kind of shook off the cold sweats, man, because I got the whole anxiety attack thing going on. I shook it off, and I dumped the pills, and I quit that shit cold turkey. I just threw it away because the pills were doing more harm than good. Pills weren't making me better, they were making me worse. And I kind of learned from there, if I felt like I was going to have one of these fucking episodes, man, if I was going to have this deal where I was going to start freaking out internally, then I learned to recognize it and kind of, I guess, anticipate what the feelings were going to be. And then I just dealt with it. And eventually, it kind of, the ship kind of righted itself. It fixed itself. But what about the people that don't? I mean, I got lucky, right? I learned. I taught myself how to kind of unfuck myself. But what about the people that can't? Doesn't make them, any weaker or any stronger. Or either way, it is what it is. So what about those people? What about the people that maybe they do reach out for help and the meds make them worse and they wind up, fucking capping themselves anyway? What about the people who just try to deal with this stuff without any help and wind up capping themselves, but they don't reach out for help because they know that they're going to be deemed, unemployable or a broken toy? Holy shit, imagine locking somebody up and it comes to trial and somehow the defense attorney finds out that you're on some kind of medication, or the defense attorney finds out that you're having this problem because you said something to somebody. I mean, you can't tell me it can't happen. So what do you do then? What do you do when you get embarrassed on the stand when the defense attorney, John Schmuckatelli Esquire, asks you straight up on the witness stand, isn't it true that, you're on whatever anti-anxiety medication? Then what? I mean, sure, you can tell them it's none of their business, but jury's already heard it. Doesn't matter what the judge says. Prosecutor can object. Judge says disregard. They've already heard it. So what do? How do we reach out for help and not jeopardize ourselves? And if you know the answer, man, tell me. Because I'm getting real tired of reading every other day about some cop somewhere starting a gun. It's fucking heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for me, and I don't know any of these people. Imagine how their families feel. Imagine how their coworkers feel. So what do? How do we realistically reach out for help and get help and not jeopardize our career? Because I guarantee you that's the biggest problem. If I reach out for help, I'm fucked. A lot of shit that runs through your mind. And maybe some of you younger guys haven't experienced anything yet, and I don't mean in life, but you haven't. Maybe some of you don't have enough time to feel the feels, right? Maybe some of you never will. But everybody's built different, man. Everybody comes out of the factory wired just a little bit different than everybody else, right? So, you know, kind of hard not to judge yourself. And it's even harder to expect to not be judged by other people. So, do you take yourself out of the game? Do you tell the coach and hope he doesn't pull you? I mean, I think these are real questions, man. And listen, I'm on board 100% with getting help. But I think the questions have to be answered. Even Stanley wants to know. Try to have a serious conversation. That dopey bastard wants to bark. Anyway, man, if you guys, weigh in. Let me know. Tell me what you think. I'll be around. I hope you will too. Give me some answers. Tell me what you think. Drop it in the comments down below. Love to hear it from you. Y'all be safe.